Well, good morning, everyone. Really happy to see everybody this morning. My name is Nate Russell. I'm a senior judge in the competition, and I will be judging this very first presentation. I'm a little bit about myself. I'm an associate director for Raytheon Company, which is a defense aerospace technology company. And I've been doing that for nearly 30 years. So I'll hand it over to Michael. You're on mute, Mike. Michael.
Perfect. There we go. My name is Mike Galvin. I own a company that helps adults with disabilities find employment within the UC system in California. And I've been doing this for about 10 years. And I look forward to hearing the presentation and working with you guys.
In this part of the competition, you are taking on a fictional business identity and assigning a fictional business identity to the judges. Please make sure everyone knows who you are and who they are before you begin. You will have 25 minutes to describe the legal, financial, and ethical dimensions of the problem and to recommend a solution that passes muster on all three counts. During this time, teams will be uninterrupted. When you are finished, the judges will ask you questions for 10 to 15 minutes. During the Q&A, both you and the judges stay in character. After the Q&A, the judges will give you feedback outside the role play. So, Jeff, anything else?
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Nate.
No worries. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'll turn it over for quick introductions, and then we will start. We'll start the clock. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Astrid. I'm the funding and sourcing consultant. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline. I'm the ethical consultant.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I am the ethical and resistant consultant.
Hi, I'm Dermot. I'm the legal consultant, and thank you again for being here today.
And hi, I'm Will, and I'm the financial consultant.
Okay. I will start you have 25 minutes. I will start the clock. 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Board of Directors at Whole Foods. We first would like to thank you for your time and consideration today. We hope that what we're demonstrating will leave an impact on you and leave you excited to jump on board with a new charitable and profitable business model. My name is Astrid, and since we already did introductions, I think we'll move into our ask. So today we are asking you, the Board of Directors at Whole Foods, to take the leadership to pilot a community-based franchise called Whole Access to provide healthy and affordable groceries for low-income communities. This, once successful, we at Catalyst Consulting will help you roll it out further in other states and cities. This is our agenda. First, we're going to be going over the ethics and then leading into solutions, sourcing and fundraising solutions, resistance, and finally, the legal and financial sectors of our presentation. We're going to be handing it over to Jacqueline first, who will address the problem and our possible solution.
Thank you, Astrid. Again, my name is Jacqueline. Imagine this. On the streets of York Road in Baltimore, a stark reality unfolds daily, painting a picture of extreme inequality etched into the lives of its residents. For generations, these individuals have bore the heavy burden of racial and socioeconomic disparity, a weight that has left them in a landscape devoid of the most basic necessities. These pictures are real photos we took after going around York Road and seeing these problems for ourselves. Here, there are no bustling grocery stores offering fresh produce and other healthy options, but instead, residents are forced to rely on food from places like corner stores and fast food chains. Transportation barriers in Baltimore make it not feasible and extremely hard for citizens in low-income areas to access markets that provide healthy and affordable foods. With this, the true cost emerges. The health and well-being of an entire community hangs in the balance. Children, the promise of tomorrow, face a future tainted by poor health and limited opportunities. The absence of good food has become a deprivation that corrodes not only their bodies, but also their spirits. The community members can only hope. Hope that someone will see this and reach out. With help from you, we can spark hope into reality to bring a tangible, sustainable solution to this community and later into other communities just like the one on York Road. Here's a picture of the food deserts in Baltimore. York Road, Baltimore is one community labeled as a food desert. A food desert refers to an area where residents have limited access to affordable and nutritious food. These areas are typically characterized by a lack of full-service supermarkets within a reasonable distance, making it challenging for residents to obtain healthy food options. Nearly 25% of Baltimore citizens live in these areas, also known as healthy food priority areas. In food deserts, 33% of the population lives at least a half-mile away from the nearest grocery store. And 30% of households in Baltimore do not have access to a vehicle. These combined statistics show that those in food deserts do not have money for transportation in order to get to other stores. Without easy access to grocery stores, it leads to consumption from places like corner stores and fast food chains that can result in health disparities like obesity. The American Cancer Society just published a study in 2023 stating that shorter life expectancy was found in low-income areas and in food deserts, defined as census tracts with limited accessibility to healthy foods based on the distance to the nearest supermarket and access to a vehicle. We went out into the York Road community to evaluate the situation. The only location that we found which provided some sort of fresh and affordable fruit was a Dollar General store. However, as you can see on this slide, this was simply one small stand set up in the corner of the store. We mapped out the walk from one Dollar General to another. A 55-minute walk between the closest places to get the combination of fresh fruit. So what are we going to do to combat these problems and bring a long-term solution? We propose the idea Whole Access, a franchise of Whole Foods that not only addresses the need for equitable access to fresh produce, but also has the potential to revolutionize the way we think about community well-being and economic sustainability. Whole Access will be grocery stores established in underrepresented areas of Baltimore, our pilot store being on York Road. These stores will serve as a beacon of hope, providing residents with affordable, accessible, and healthy food options. To achieve this, we believe a partnership with Whole Foods will ensure these stores are sustainable. We aim to leverage your brand recognition and resources to amplify our impact and create positive recognition for you, especially in terms of the Whole Foods gentrifying effect. The key features of Whole Access stores will be: 1, Whole Access stores will offer a diverse range of affordable and accessible food options. 1, collaboration with Whole Foods to sponsor Whole Access stores in underrepresented areas of Baltimore. 2, Whole Access will offer a diverse range of affordable and accessible food options, including fresh produce, whole grains, and nutritious snacks. And 3, bring a better quality of life to the low-income residents of York Road by creating job opportunities and fostering economic empowerment within the community. You, the board of directors at Whole Foods, have the power to change communities for the better. The Whole Cities Foundation you created in 2014 aims to build partnerships with community-led organizations to build thriving local food systems and grow community health. Your grants have been given out to various communities to fund community gardens, pop-up markets, and farmers market stands. Now, we ask you to take it a step further by supporting a pilot project and funding a permanent, affordable grocery store in low-income areas, starting with Baltimore. Now, I will hand it back over to Astrid, who will talk about raising funds and sourcing food in an ethical way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. So as Jacqueline just said, I'm going to go over raising funds and sourcing foods. We think this is very needed because research indicates that many food insecure households operate on budgets averaging $10 to $12 per week. At Whole Access, we're committed to ensuring that these budgets stretch further and offering affordable options without compromising on quality. Because of this, we also plan to accept WIC and SNAP programs, allowing our customers who struggle with food insecurity to access what they need. By having competitive and reasonable prices, we will not only meet the needs of the community, but also challenge the status quo. So one way we plan to source foods is through point of sale donation systems. By giving customers the option to round up their purchase or donate a percentage, we can generate additional revenue to support our stores and initiatives. Also, create a bond between the customers at Whole Foods and those of Whole Access, further emphasizing the importance of our mission and sharing wealth. Moving on to our direction of supplying and stocking Whole Access, we would like to implement a supply chain that is sustainable while also still being affordable. We plan to do this by embracing the concept of misfit food, produce and grocery items that may appear slightly imperfect, but are still of high quality and nutritional value. This is inspired by initiatives like Misfit Markets, who recognize the potential in rescuing and utilizing these foods. We believe by sourcing and offering these misfit items, we not only prevent them from being discarded, but also provide our customers with access to affordable, nutritious options. Through this approach, Whole Access will be able to remain financially viable while redefining traditional standards and challenging the stigma associated with imperfect produce, ultimately contributing to a more sustainable and equitable food system and supply chain. So, what are the benefits of collaboration for you, Whole Foods? Firstly, profitability. We will dive into the exact numbers later in this presentation, but we believe Whole Access will be a very successful and profitable venture by providing access to a whole new customer base and saving foods that would otherwise be going to waste. Second is enhanced brand recognition. By sponsoring Whole Access stores, Whole Foods can enhance its brand recognition and reputation as this socially responsible corporation. So, and continuing to be committed to addressing food insecurity and promoting community well-being. Lastly, Whole Foods can instigate a positive impact. By investing in these underrepresented areas, Whole Foods can make a tangible difference in the lives of residents. Together, we can ensure that all residents have access to healthy food options, while also strengthening Whole Foods brand recognition, while ending food waste and sharing wealth. We hope that you see the need for Whole Access and see that it can also benefit Whole Foods. Now I will turn it over to my colleague, Sophia, who's going to further discuss the ethical implications and methods that will help us achieve greater resilience and sustainability.
Thank you, Astrid, for that wonderful recap. And thank you once again, Whole Foods Board of Directors, for having us here today. My name is Sophia, and I will be walking you through our ideas on how to greater incorporate retention and resilience within Whole Access. Imagine a community where every member has access to resources and opportunities that empower them to thrive. Unfortunately, as Jacqueline mentioned, that is not the case for the community on York Road and similar low-income neighborhoods, but that is why the incorporation of Whole Access is important. We strive to bring in a dynamic initiative aimed at fostering collaboration, engagement, and empowerment within the neighborhood. Also, on a quick note, we do want to recognize that a grocery store coming into a low-income market may be unfamiliar and foreign to its consumers at first. So to entice this new consumer base and appeal to their convenience, we propose having a small section of this store supply cheap household and hygiene products like toilet paper, tampons, and other feminine hygiene products. So today, we are excited to share with you how Whole Access is not just a concept, but a catalyst for positive change. We all know that community engagement and involvement are key to building a vibrant and resilient society, but often barriers like lack of access, language barriers, lack of awareness, or simply not feeling heard can prevent individuals from fully participating. That is why we, Catalyst Consulting, believe in the power of community collaboration. To address this, we're not starting from scratch. Instead, building on existing community efforts and partnerships by reaching out to organizations and individuals who have been doing incredible work in the neighborhood and inquiring information they have about the needs of the community to see how Whole Access can be adjusted to best fit the community's needs. One key insight we've discovered is the correlation between proximity to work and employee retention. Whole access is not just about providing services, it is about creating opportunities for employment within the community. By focusing on hiring community residents, not only are we just creating employment, we're fostering a stronger sense of belonging and commitment within our workforce. But whole access, once again, is not just about providing services. It's about co-creating solutions and partnerships with the community, as you do with your whole city's foundation. By surveying our members and actively seeking back their feedback, we tailor our approach to meet their needs effectively. Instead of relying solely on traditional feedback methods, we're implementing real-time engagement strategies. Picture this. As residents walk out of whole access, they see a friendly, familiar face at the door, ready to listen to their thoughts and suggestions. This personal touch ensures that every voice is heard, even those who might not have time to fill out a survey. Amplifying community engagement is critical for the success of whole access, because you do not want to go into a marginalized community without community involvement and the trust of community members, or else you will cultivate a white savior complex. At Whole Access, we're not just about providing handouts, we're about empowerment through education. In the future, once this pilot program is successful, we would offer nutritional guidance, shopping education, workforce development training, and meal planning workshops. Whole Access is a program of opportunity where we equip the members with the tools they need to thrive. But we can't do it alone, of course. By involving and encouraging young students from the area and students from neighboring universities in volunteering and donation efforts, we're not only tapping into valuable resources, but also fostering a sense of social responsibility among the next generation. And let's not forget about cultural recipes. Reaching out to local restaurants to collaborate on meal prep packages, a bridge to new experiences and flavors, bringing communities together one dish at a time. By providing local restaurants with incentives for their participation, such as a share of the profit or community recognition, we're not only supporting local businesses, but also creating a sustainable model for providing nutritious meals to those in need. Whole Access is not just a service. It is a movement about bringing the community together, breaking down barriers, and empowering individuals to shape their own futures. You cannot have profitability without sustainability. So together, let's create a community where everyone has access and everyone has a voice. Now, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Dermot, who is going to touch upon a past attempt to tackle the food desert on York Road, and then get into the legal aspects of this franchise.
Well, thank you, Sophia, for that. My name is Dermot, and I will be diving into the legal aspects of this project. But before we do that, we just want to take a quick moment to look over a past but failed effort to address this food desert on York Road. So the pressing issue of food deserts and the need to address them is not new. For example, back in 2018, the Salvation Army opened up Doing the Most Good, a profitable grocery store on York Road with a similar model to what we were proposing through a Whole Access. But after 3 short years, it shut down. This effort by the Salvation Army was well-intentioned and actually very well received by the local community, but ultimately fell short of its goals due to a few missing pieces and mistakes. So why can you do what they could not? Catalyst Consulting sees Whole Foods as an ideal partner to tackle food deserts in Baltimore and potentially many other cities as well. Your commitment to your mission of caring for the people and planet gives us confidence in your ability to succeed. Unlike DMG, which face challenges with product quality and inventory management, you have the market expertise and perishable supply chain management to mitigate these issues. Additionally, DMG struggled due to a large initial investment of $2.2 million for a 7,000 square foot building and its larger operational size, whereas our proposition entails a smaller, more cost-effective approach, allowing for better responsiveness to community needs and store management. So while DMG highlighted the need for healthy food in low-income areas, they cannot execute a long-term plan, but we believe you can. So we are now going to delve into the legal aspects of Whole Access. And in our research, we have found that our plan for Whole Access is a viable legal solution. We have not encountered any past court cases or regulations that will limit or hinder the success of this operation. And furthermore, in this section, we will go over the franchise agreement, discuss governance, and look at the challenges and risks that may arise in this process. So to start, we will touch on the topic of the franchise model. The idea of Whole Foods creating a franchise brand, Whole Access, with local communities is an innovative but not unprecedented concept. If Whole Access is considered as a separate division, distinct from the existing Whole Foods operations, we believe that this idea is feasible. Our proposition entails that this new division operates under a different business model, such as franchising, while Whole Foods continues its current operations as usual. It would allow Whole Foods to expand its reach and mission of providing healthy, affordable, and accessible food without disrupting its existing operations, and, if successful, can be rolled out across cities and food deserts across the country. In this context, the franchise counterpart would be the local community organizations, social enterprises, or even motivated individuals who align themselves with the mission of Whole Foods. These franchisees would be responsible for operating the Whole Access stores in the local community under the guidance and support of the Whole Foods Corporation. This being said, it is crucial to engage with the local community, understand their needs and preferences, and then tailor the store accordingly to them. So now we're going to take a quick dive into governance. There are 4 forms of governance that Whole Foods will have to keep track of to ensure that Whole Access aligns with their missions and values. But we believe the proven practices of governance at Whole Foods can be extended or replicated in these Whole Access stores. The 4 categories are: 1, legal and financial governance, which will ensure Whole Access operates within the law, maintains financial health, and adheres to the terms of the franchise agreement. 2, operational governance, which oversees that Whole Access is operating efficiently, maintaining quality, and meeting performance standards. 3, brand governance, which will ensure training and support from the Whole Foods so that Whole Access maintains brand consistency, its reputation, and has the skills it needs to operate effectively. And 4, community and stakeholder engagement governance, which will include the establishment of a franchise advisory council consisting of representatives from Whole Foods, us at Catalyst Consulting, and community members to oversee strategy at Whole Access in alignment with Whole Foods values. The Franchise Council will provide a platform for franchisees to voice their concerns and contribute to decision-making, while community engagement ensures responsiveness to local needs. So to conclude the legal aspect, we believe that entering in this franchise model with Whole Access addresses the risks coming from operational challenges, reputation and public perception, and regulatory compliance. With careful planning and execution, Whole Access will be a legally run and profitable venture for you, and one that aligns with your mission of serving the people and planet, and ultimately leading to healthier consumption and the fulfillment of UN SDG 12. Now, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Will, who's going to close this out with some of the financial logistics of Whole Access.
Thank you, Dermot. My name is Will, and I'd like to now dive into the financial considerations on developing Whole Access. So financial soundness is a fundamental aspect of our plan for Whole Access, and we cannot achieve sustainability without financial sustainability. Let's start with the basics of financial viability in our model. Take, for example, the ideal location that we've identified on York Road in Baltimore. This property was previously a family-owned grocery store, comes with existing infrastructure, including freezers and refrigerators, which is a significant cost-saving advantage. In the terms of cost, we estimate a total bill of $1,040,000 and expect to break even about after 1 year. We anticipate these costs coming from the expected initial franchise fee of approximately $35,000, along with the purchase of the building, which again was $610,000. Additionally, we estimate labor costs of around $235,000 per year, with expenses for essential equipment such as refrigerators, shelving, and checkout stations ranging from $15,000 to $20,000. Furthermore, other miscellaneous expenses may amount to around $140,000. There are many financial incentives and benefits to Whole Foods partnering with Whole Access. By expanding into Whole Access, Whole Foods would have access to previously untapped markets that vary greatly from the typical customer demographic that utilizes Whole Foods services. Furthermore, the state of Maryland has put multiple incentives in place to encourage retailers to develop and build stores in impoverished areas and food deserts. For example, Maryland launched their fresh food financing initiatives, which is an innovative plan developed in 2014 that creates partnerships between companies and governments that helps to fund loans and grants in order to minimize the lack of grocers in food deserts and make sure that they have the necessary fresh produce to operate. Additionally, Maryland launched their grocery store incentive area personal property tax credit in 2015, which provides an 80% tax credit against property tax for 10 years to grocery retailers opening stores in designated food deserts. On the state level, incentives to construct grocery stores in impoverished areas continue. The state of Maryland offers up to $50,000 in loans to companies that invest in the development and infrastructure of designated food areas. In conclusion, we hope that we demonstrated to you the need to create whole access. We also hope that you are excited about this as we are. I'd like to now open up the presentation to any questions you might have. Thank you.
Well, that was great. Thank you. I'll open it up to the judges. I'll go around. I know we have Brandon, Michael. Michael, if you want to start.
Yes, thank you. Well, hey guys, that was a great presentation. Okay, I liked what you said, and it really touched with the spirit of Whole Foods. Thank you for that. I have some questions, so I guess I'm going to kind of go from the back to the front and kind of just list off some questions I've had. I think Dermot, when you spoke, and if I get the wrong person quoted here, thank you. 50,000 loan, is that per location? Or if a business has more than one location, is that per spot, or just for all operations of each business that would be involved in the franchise?
So that would be for each store that opened up in a designated food area, they would receive that $50,000 loan.
Okay, so if I franchise 4 locations, I get what, 200,000 potential loan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. Infrastructure. Okay, well then one thing that came to mind is, let me just find my note real quick here if I can. Well, you kind of answered, but to kind of dig into it. So you're looking at smaller shops, not like large, because Whole Foods is a large location when you go into one. So you're talking about more mom and pop locations, smaller shops. How many people are you you think would take the staff per location?
I think we estimated that around 10 people would be employed at each location.
Okay, that's figured into the numbers about 10. Okay, thank you. And the problem, going back to like the actual problem itself, right? Like this came from somewhere, right? It's a great niche, and it's a niche that I think does need to be addressed because so much food does get wasted from a lot of businesses. So this could be a leading industry standard for just grocery stores in general. That can be repeated. How far back does this problem go? Like you may have mentioned it, and forgive me for missing it. And it's at the beginning, but when does this begin? Like in the 50s, 60s, 2000s? When would this happen? And if you don't know, no problem.
Yeah, I don't know a specific date, but I know that it goes a lot further back into redlining. And when Baltimore was being established and they made the codes of where was hazardous or just not able to live, when those came out, a lot of supermarkets were like, well, we're not going to want to put down a place where it was deemed hazardous. And after that, it contributed to a lot of socioeconomic inequality, because it was usually African-American communities or low-income communities. And then that's where you started getting the redlining, gentrification, and so on.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Yeah. And then my last question, I'll hand over to the next judge. This is for this location, this city. How fast do you think this could expand to other locations throughout the continental United States?
I think it can expand very quickly. And I think seeing another initiatives and case studies done throughout the different communities, we've seen that people know about this issue and are willing to help address it. With the Whole Cities Foundation, they have helped fund a whole bunch of communities from various different locations. And I think with this being a pilot project, it will only fuel other people to want to get more involved.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll turn it over.
I did want to add a little bit to Jacqueline's point that this is a very pressing issue all across the US. So once a pilot program starts in Baltimore, other programs and other consulting groups will, jump onto this initiative and jump onto this idea.
Cool.
And hopefully we would have our part in that too, like knowing and having experience from, opening up this store in Baltimore.
Yeah, no, you would get experience from the first locations for sure. Cool. Well, thank you, guys. I'll turn over to the next judge.
Brandon, do you have any questions? Or how about Nadia?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I want to sincerely apologize. I had a lot of technical difficulties, so I, again, sincerely apologize. I was able to grab a little bit of your last minutes of the presentation, but I guess like my main, and if this was discussed during the presentation, I sincerely apologize again. But with Whole Foods being such a big brand and has this, essentially like image of being really accessible towards very higher socioeconomic levels, how would you like encourage more people to come to whole access? Because maybe there is like some sort of issue with people not feeling welcome in these environments and everything. So how do you create that environment where this is like a safe space, or again, creating this image that this is accessible more towards more people, and specifically African-American populations, Latino population, and so on and so forth?
Yes.
Just to start, oh, go ahead, Sophia.
Yeah, so that goes very hand in hand with the community engagement sector that I spoke a little bit about. And we specifically were thinking of hosting meetings with other programs and other organizations who are already working on dismantling the issue of food deserts and working towards, fixing that issue within Baltimore. But also we would create flyers, brochures, and newsletters in different languages as well to greater outreach Baltimore's diverse cultures. So by hosting meetings, town hall meetings with other organizations and just other community members, that's one way we hope to get more involvement within the community and more people on board with us.
And then this would also apply towards, I know that universities also have such a large problem with like student homelessness, student hunger issues and everything like that. Would there be specific what's the term, projects that are geared towards those populations as well?
Yes, for sure. The York Road community is very close to neighboring universities and other schools as well, like high schools. And I think it's also important to note that there are younger students as well who go through these issues and that live in these communities. So we would for sure have programs that have students and other individuals who are more than welcome to shop with us and be a part of this program.
Okay, perfect. Well, I really wanted to take the moment to say that I sincerely love this issue. I think it's a great initiative, and more than anything, I want to focus, and maybe you can I don't know, again, I apologize for joining in late, but the term whole, I think, is a really big and important term specifically for Whole Foods. So I think that if you gear more towards that term and say this is something for more than just specific like people, I think that it would really help with the overall messaging. But I think this is, again, great work. I really do like it. So, and I apologize again, I can't say that enough.
I have a question. I think both Michael and Nadia asked most of the questions, but in terms of size, I'm just asking about the size. Nadia brought the fact that we're a large scale business, and you're looking at employing about 10 people. In terms of impact to the community, I'm wondering, are we being a little too optimistic in terms of the overall potential impact that this one store may have? We look at the community engagement and things of that nature. What are your thoughts on that?
I would love to answer that. We were also talking about a one-to-one program for almost every Whole Foods store, having a partnership with a Whole Access in a neighborhood. And I think that if you believe as a company that you're making a difference with your stores, that if we are to implement a whole access for every Whole Foods that there is, that's also going to make a difference. Using the small stores, we don't have to worry about transportation for people. You know, if we can make 3 small stores in Baltimore, just as there are 3 large Whole Foods in Baltimore, we can put these into each sector of community that is most needed, and people don't have to go far, and we can continue to make that impact at least at the same size we believe that Whole Foods is making.
Thank you.
Nate, may I ask a question?
Yes,
Thank you very much, team. I wonder if you could speak about the ethics and the ethical dimension of your proposal. I understand why food deserts is a problem for the residents of Baltimore, but why is it a responsibility for Whole Foods to respond to that need in Baltimore?
Well, to first start, one of the biggest things is gentrification, and that has been something in our history for a very long time. And it's something that many people have written about, that we're now calling it the Whole Foods effect. Instead of gentrifying effect, we're calling it the Whole Foods effect, because it's people like Whole Foods who are making these barriers for low income people, or, you know, African Americans or people of color to be able to come to these stores. And being able to use Whole Foods, we're able to break these barriers of gentrification. Sure, we could use another big store, but the problem is that it's not going to solve gentrification as much as Whole Foods will.
I think it's also very important to note that your value is, and your purpose is to nourish people and the planet. So I think it shouldn't matter that it's only, I think it is really important to note that we shouldn't pick and choose which people or which demographics or which groups you choose to nourish. Everyone has the right, and everyone should be able to be nourished by the planet and by Whole Foods. If that is a value that you uphold, then you should uphold it with everyone and every community.
Yeah, I think we're specifically coming to you for this because of, you know, what you have demonstrated already through your values. As we mentioned before, you know, the concept of the whole cities. So Whole Foods clearly understands, you know, the need to, you know, address social issues. And, you know, this is a way to do it, but it's also a way to expand business and become more profitable as well.
Thank you.
one last, I'll ask Brandon if he has anything. You're on mute. Okay.
Good morning. I just wanted to say I thought the presentations were excellent. I think given the difficulty of communicating, you know, over Zoom and online, I think that the personality and the emotion came out where it needed to come out. You know, on the subject, you know, I would be curious to know how, from maybe just a long-term shareholder perspective, more how it's actually a good thing for Whole Foods to develop the market where the population is growing and how incomes will continue to rise and the labor market is tight. How it may not purely be altruistic, so to speak. There's really a strong economic argument for them to look at growth markets like the areas where there are quote unquote food deserts.
You guys have the.
I honestly had a pretty difficult time understanding or listening to the question just because the audio on my end didn't sound very clear. So if you could just repeat that one more time, we would greatly appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. So I guess my question is what are some of the good economic reasons why Whole Foods in the long run, you know, and its shareholders can win from this kind of engagement?
I mean, we're tapping into a brand new market. We're tapping into a market that you usually don't tap into. And that way we can bring in more revenue, bring in more, revenue into the economy and to your own company. But I can also pass it on to Will, who is our financial consultant.
I can also add to that as well. Yeah, so it is, access to an untapped market, but you're also saving foods that would otherwise go to waste that you've already spent money on. So money or food that would otherwise go to waste and generate zero revenue and profit for you is coming to these stores and generating revenue from this like new model.
Yeah, and one of the greatest expenses in a grocery store is purchasing the actual food, and we just don't have that, so it's a great expense that we're lacking.
And one of the goals of Whole Foods was trying to ensure their sustainability, and being able to use this misfit food, we'd able to cut down waste.
Okay. All right. I think it's safe to say we'll end it here. So let's break character. I think we've got maybe 5 minutes. Judges, do we want to give any feedback to the group? Nadia, Michael, Brandon?
Yeah, I'll jump in. So we're very character. I loved it. I love the concept. I love the niche. I think you guys found something that's really hot as far as in business, and also that's just responsible for the world in general. Being on your end, quite often when I'm promoting what I do in business, the question is always, what's in it for me? So in thinking a little bit more on that, like what's in it for Whole Foods, and they're a corporation. Financially, how are they going to benefit? Because it falls in line with the brand, and it can be sharpened here or there to do that. But at the end of the day, they're going to ask, are we making money or losing money? So if there's some way of incorporating that a little bit more, you did a great job at just fine tuning that question, because ultimately that would be a make or break for the corporation. But I liked your cadence. You guys kept a good flow together. So as a team, you guys came on very sharp. So just want to let you know that.
And I would also say that I work for Citi and I do risk management. So I think that you guys really evaluated all forms of risk, which I thought was great. And I think like the flow of it, I really appreciate how everybody was very clear. I think you all had very nice ideas, and I think they're very strong. I think at the very end, though, in the last question that we asked, I think Sophia actually bounced it to Will and then Dermot. I think that's just being kind of like nitpicky, but honestly, I think like if that flow is there, I think it would be great. And I think everybody is willing to answer the question, which I think is great. But I think just giving everybody the right floor, I do. That's something that I'm personally working on, because I know that I always want to hear my ideas. But again, just making sure that that last flow is nice and clear, because I think that would just really polish up everything that you guys had. But honestly, great work. I really liked the idea. I liked your solution. It was very tangible, which I think goes a long way to say that you guys are very polished. So great job.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the presentation. I think it does really hit a, help to solve a need that exists in our country, particularly with the middle class starting to disappear. I think I would have wanted to see more of the scale. I enjoyed starting in Baltimore and understanding more about the food desert and why it's important. But I think I would have appreciated more of showing the scale of what the art of the possible was in the pitch. Showing, and maybe even a schedule, a timeline of here's Baltimore, here's the success story that we predict, and then scaling out across the nation and hitting certain areas so that it could really hit home, and maybe the board could see exactly how big this issue is across the country. It could really bring it home and put it in somebody's own backyard to highlight a need that people don't even realize is there. But overall, I thought it was a great pitch, just probably showing the full scale of where this could go, the art of the possible going across, and tying it. I really enjoyed, hey, we should have one of these for every Whole Foods as a partner, and we can put it in another area. And then really showing the outreach across the country would have really just popped a lot more. Brandon, any closing comments?
Yes, I thought, again, I would echo and agree with everything that all the other judges sort of commented. I think the presentation was excellent, especially given the challenges of just the medium. I think the timing is great. In terms of a comment, I might say that many politicians, they personalize everything. So when a politician might go to Baltimore, they might speak in the context of a particular woman and her family and name them and say maybe Mary in Baltimore with children. Billy and Johnny, they don't have the opportunity to eat strawberries. They might personalize it and make it very kind of emotionally salient in an individual way. And so that might be just one thing to consider. When we speak of cities, we are speaking of people, and it can be rhetorically powerful to name them, even just sort of like a representative person. But I think it was excellent.
Thank you. All right, I think that concludes this first session. Thank you, team.
Well, take you so much. Thank
So
you for your
much.
time.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice day.
Yep.
Congratulations, you
Good luck
guys.
with the rest of the competition. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Bye.